Hey guys, today's video will be something a bit different. Someone asked me in my Twitch chat to make a Unite Move tier list. I was like, maybe this could be fun content. If you guys think there's something interesting, like the video and maybe leave a comment on below. And so yeah, what we just do is we look at all the Unite moves and just rank them, right? A normal tier list. And I will also, the main thing about this is I will try to not look at the character behind the Unite move, but more like what's the cooldown of it, what does the Unite move do, and then rank it based on that, all right? So let's start with Lucaria's Unite move. In general, it's pretty bad, right? Like, it's mainly used for better power punch or just for Lucario to run it into something. And yeah, that's about it, right? There's not much behind it. Honestly, I think this is too many. Let me delete this row. I don't think we need this many rows. Just making the lowest tier. Pretty lackluster on its own. Of course, it can do a lot of damage if you cast it on enemies, but compared to other Unite moves, it's quite lackluster. Then we have Machamp. Machamp, I think, is one of the best Unite moves in the game. Can be very game-changing. It's very fun, very satisfying. Absolutely love this Unite move. Greedent, probably solid A tier. Probably somewhere between S and A tier. It's quite strong as well. Obviously, you remember the old Covet Beige, right? Who was an absolute nuisance to play against. It has been nerfed since then, but still quite strong. And yeah, not a bad Unite move. Garchomp, I think Garchomp just doesn't fit his... I think Garchomp Unite move just doesn't fit the character, but like on its own, I guess it's not that bad, right? If it was tied to a different character, maybe it would be better. Being it tied to Garchomp doesn't really fit his kit much. I'm not a big fan, but on its own, I mean, it's okay. It's pretty okay-ish. Cinderace, I think this ultimate is a solid A or B tier. Actually, quite hard to decide. I think it's the Unite move is not that. It's very good for sniping objectives, right? So maybe that's why we put it into a high tier. But besides that, it's not really that crazy of a Unite move. It's just good for Cinderace because you just cast it. I think it gets interrupted way too often as well. So I really don't think it's as good as, it kind of is. It's just Cinderace is very strong. But on its own, the Unite move is like, yeah, it's quite okay. It's pretty easily cancelable. And nothing too amazing, I would say, besides that, besides sniping objectives. Yeah, pretty mediocre Unite move, I would say. Besides, again, sniping objectives. Blissey Unite move, I think, is quite strong. Not sure if it's enough for S tier, but I think this Unite move is very, very good. And if Blissey was made, that would be quite painful to play against. But on its own, it's quite solid. It gives someone a big shield. It gives damage mitigation. It does a lot of damage. And it CCs as well. So on paper, very strong Unite move. Next up, we have Aegislash, easily S tier. Aegislash Unite move is crazy. It heals, it does damage, it pushes back, and makes him invincible as well for a few seconds. Quite strong. Quite strong. Dragonite, I think after the last few patches, I don't think it's as threatening as it used to be. Of course, it's still very good at backdooring things. So if you look at Dragonite's kit, it's quite fine. If you look at score sheet, it's decent. Outside of that, it's quite lackluster now, I would say. Used to obviously be much better with how the Unite move worked. Got a lot of nerfs, so now I think it's B tier. Next up, we have Sylveon. Sylveon's Unite move is pretty bad. Not a big fan. I'm going to put it down in C tier. Yeah, it gives you some invulnerability. It gives Sylveon some healing after using it. Has a pretty decent cooldown as well, so not the biggest fan of it. I really wish he had something, I wish it had more impact, right? I mean, it's not bad, but it's quite bad. Let's just say it's quite bad. Not the biggest fan of it. Gardevoir, I think Gardevoir is a solid A tier. I think people are going to be like, what? Gardevoir not S tier Unite move? I think it's quite easy to outplay this. And one of the main reasons also is Wigglytuff currently being almost every game. Negates it quite hard, I would say. Besides that, I mean, it's powerful, but it has a very high cooldown. It takes some time to start hitting, so characters that have mobility can get out of it before it hits them. So yeah, quite meh. Talonflame Unite move is S tier because of its cooldown. And it's honestly quite strong as well. The pushback is nice, it does big damage. But the main reason why it's an S tier Unite move is because it is always up, right? You fight a Talonflame, oh, his Unite move is up again, Unite move is up again. It has too low cooldown, and without the low cooldown, it probably would be somewhere here. But because it has such a low cooldown, again, I said I'm going to look at the cooldown of Unite moves as well. It's probably a solid S tier. Cramorant, and Cramorant Unite move used to be so strong, but I feel like it just doesn't do damage anymore. People can just run out of it. It doesn't really do much, I would say. I'm not a big fan of it whatsoever right now. And yeah, it just doesn't feel like it does much. Often the character just dies while pressing this Unite move, and it has a pretty high cooldown as well. Locks them into place. Yeah, it used to be much better, but they nerfed it a bit too much, I would say, in the past. This is one of the strongest Unite moves in the game. Blastoise, undisputed. it's probably my favorite Unite move of the entire game when it comes to, like, if I would pick one of the strongest Unite moves, it probably would be Wigglytuff or Blastoise. I think his Unite move is absolutely insane. Game-changing, yeah, insanely broken. Has a low cooldown as well. It's pretty spammable. You can get it off a few times per game. Very, very good. Mammswine, probably the worst Unite move in the entire game. Absolutely hate it. Dreadful. Not a fan. Absolutely bad. Very, very bad. I think Absol is a solid B tier. The Unite move is not bad. It does good damage. It has a bit of an awkward, like, how it does damage. It's mainly used to, like, proc Body Barrier to do some burst on someone, but yeah. Nothing game-changing. I still don't think it's quite as bad as these are, but yeah. It's, you know, it can still one-shot a Squishy from 100 to 0 if they get hit by all these things. Especially if they get crit, so yeah. Obviously not too bad. Decidueye. So Decidueye is a thing, right? I feel like it's the same with Garchomp, okay? So my problem with Garchomp, Decidueye's Unite moves are that they want to basic attack. Those characters want to basic attack. And those Unite moves lock them into things where they can't basic attack, right? So on their own, these Unite moves are not bad. So, like, as I said, I don't want to look at the character behind it as much, but yeah. Like, on a different character that is, like, long-range base, it would be good on. But, like, on Decidueye, just because he wants to auto-attack, right? Like, Cyndae's Greninja, they can just press Unite move and make use of their attack speed and instantly attack people, right? But Decidueye can't. Garchomp can't. That's why I think these Unite moves are terrible on those characters, right? Yeah, maybe I still think of the character behind it, you know, using it as well. But yeah, I mean, on its own, it's not a bad Unite move, probably B tier. The fact that it's on Decidueye makes it a C tier. So probably just put it next to Garchomp and be like, yeah, I guess they're kind of similar. They're good Unite moves, but combined on the characters that they're on, they're quite bad. Gengar, I mean, Gengar is okay. It's not a bad, I mean, it's quite okay-ish. It can catch people off guard, but I mean, it's very good to, like, assassinate a Squishy, but when, like, Body Barriers happen and stuff, it doesn't really do much. It's pretty mediocre, I would say. Pretty mediocre. I think I would prefer those other Unite moves over this one. It also is pretty bad, like, you also have to look at Unite moves, how they proc Body Barrier, right? It's very bad to proc Body Barrier on this one. It's quite awkward, because you kind of want to engage and flank from the side. So it's a character that can't really utilize Body Barrier with this Unite move. So yeah, I guess that's a good factor as well. How does the character, you know, use Body Barrier? And it's quite awkward. Trevenant, also the Unite move feels pretty bad, not gonna lie. It's a small stun, and then, yeah, bit of extra auto-attack damage, but not really anything impressive, I would say. Zaora, I think, is still solid 8 here. He used to be here, right? This Unite move. Now I think it's here. It has good recharge. It has good damage. Bit of CC. It's pretty solid. Snorlax, I think you beat here. I mean, it's good for a tank. Gets a lot of sustain. Has some CC behind it. It's nothing amazing either. It's really not. It's pretty okay-ish. Nothing game-changing, but yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a bad Unite move. Serena is pretty solid as well, but it's hard to judge. I mean, I think the only reason Serena, actually, it's quite okay. I don't know. It's hard to judge this one. Maybe like a higher B tier. Actually, maybe lower A tier. It has a pretty low cooldown. It's really good with how Serena's kit works, but again, I don't want to look at that too much. But yeah, it works well with her. She can just go on one target. Start fighting that one target. She's very, very strong in 1v1s, and this just makes her even stronger in 1v1s, so that's what she's made for. And therefore, I mean, it's a pretty decent Unite move. Again, also pretty low cooldown, so not terrible. I think Crustle Unite move is very, very strong. I think a solid 8 here. Yeah, does a lot of damage, gives him a huge shield, or gives the character that would play the Unite move a huge shield. And allows score shield things as well to happen. It actually has quite a lot of damage as well. I think people really underestimate how much damage the Crustle Unite move does. And yeah, I think it's quite solid. I assume this is Charizard. Charizard Unite move is easily S tier, right? Not a big surprise there. One of the best Unite moves in the game. Completely makes and breaks Charizard and turns him into an absolute monster when he Unite moves. So very strong. Mime, I think Mime Unite move is also easily S tier. It has a lot of CC, it has very low cooldown, it does okay-ish damage as well, it has mobility, and it's quite annoying to play against. Yeah, I think quite strong. To me, it's easily a S tier Unite move. Next up, we have Slowbro. I think Slowbro for Unite move is very, very strong as well. To me, it's S tier. It's absolutely unfun to play against. Nothing, it's the one Unite move in the game who has no counterplay, right? It can override any unstoppable effects. You can ult a Charizard who's in the air. You can ult anyone who's unstoppable and completely negate those guys. And you can also just focus down enemy carry with your team together. I think it's a very, very strong Unite move, and I absolutely hate getting hit by it. Ninetales. Yeah, Ninetales Unite move is pretty bad, I would say. Gets into weird positions, doesn't really do much. It's okayish damage, has high cooldown. Yeah, nothing too impressive there, I would say. I think we can agree on that one. Wigglytuff, easily S tier. Crazy good ultimate Unite move. That's the unstoppable effect, counters like half of these Unite moves on its own. And yeah, shield as well, very, very strong. I think Pikachu, just because of the low cooldown test, it probably should be S tier. And yeah, I mean, this Unite move is very bad. The only reason why it's good is this, like, similar to Talonflame, but Talonflame is still, Unite move is still a bit better. It's just because it has low cooldown, right? You can get it every single minute, which means you can take so many more skirmishes and proc Buddy Barrier so much more often for your team that it makes a huge difference. Venusaur, I think Venusaur Unite move is quite okay-ish. It does okay damage. Can burst down targets if they're, you know, together and stuff. Nothing too impressive, I would say, either. Then we have Greninja. Greninja, I think, is hard to rank, but I think it's quite good. It has CC, it does very good damage, and it allows him to just jump on backline characters quite well. So I think it's quite solid. And then for the last one, we have Aegislash, which currently there's no picture for it here, so I'm just going to add it afterwards. And I think that's a solid C tier. I'm just going to put it right here. Yeah, not good. Not good, I have to say. Not very strong Unite move. It's a good finisher, but it's hard to hit. It has very small, like, targeting. And it also takes quite a while to cast it. It's good for, like, maybe last hit an objective, but yeah, nothing too impressive. Alright guys, let me know what you guys think about this, and I hope you guys still enjoyed the video. Let me know what your favorite Unite move is in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!